Alright, cut the music. Cut the music. Get me on here. Went from Xenoblade to Fire Emblem. As is the case. As one does, I suppose. So, we're coming in live. We're gonna do some Xenoblade X today. I think that's the main goal of today, and then, we'll see. I'm not gonna promise anything more than Xenoblade X, but you know, Xenogears is an option. I still have not played Xenogears in a while, but I'm still playing it. Of course, Xenoblade X is my main game right now, because I'm just really excited about it, and I've had so much fun with it in the past few days. I guess the past week. It came out about a week ago, I think. I think my last stream was on the release date, and I got the game a day later. I ordered it directly from Nintendo, so I was a bit worried, because, you know, Amazon Prime shipping, pretty reliable. You tend to get things right as they come out, and you pay for that. So, you know, that adds up, and Nintendo, you know, I'm not paying for anything other than the game itself. So I kind of almost thought that maybe it would take like a week to come, but it was only a day, so that was nice. I enjoyed that. What do we think about that Direct? Nintendo Direct randomly today. Like, what are they gonna announce? Xenoblade Chronicles X2? Like random Direct a week before the big Switch 2 Direct that everyone's really excited for. Heard some dissenting opinions. I guess, yeah, I kind of always... There's always people unhappy with the Direct. You know, whenever or wherever there is a Nintendo Direct, there will also be people very unhappy with said Nintendo Direct. I quite enjoyed it, though. I was a fan of it. What? Kaname Date and Hunter x Hunter. Okay. I'm looking at Twitter because I didn't post my funny little link. My link in my post and my picture and all that. So we're gonna put that on Twitter. As for the Nintendo Direct, I was flabbergasted at the announcement of a new I the Somnium Files game, because I love I the Somnium Files. You might know that, maybe. I think I make it known enough. But great series. Really love the first one. Really love the second one. Second one, we actually talked about it on the last stream. I'm just now remembering this. Second one wasn't as good, but it was still pretty good. So yeah, that alone, I was like, man, they give me what I want. And then right after, they announced a remaster of Raido Kuzunoha from PS2. That's a game I do have. I have that sitting in my PS2 collection. I thought about selling it because, alright, I gotta get off of Twitter. The timeline is truly heinous today. I thought about selling it because it was fairly pricey. Like, thought, okay, maybe I can get like $50 or more out of this. But then I was like, you know what, it's cool, I'll just keep it. Maybe I'll play it. I don't know about playing that version. I might not do that. But, I will play the remake. The remake looks really cool. They're adding a lot of stuff. They're adding, of course, new demons and new quality of life features and voice acting, which Personally, I think every re-release of a game that didn't previously have voice acting needs to have new voice acting in it, because I think that's the best way to sell a remake. Personally, that's just something I really value and something that I look for. Like, I really, really want to see a Xenogears remake, and I want to see it with full voice acting. Um, one of the games, or it's two of the games that stick out in my mind, are Tactics Ogre Reborn, and then also Live Alive. My cousin, Nicholas Corda, is actually a voice actor in Live Alive. He plays Strabo, and I haven't played Live Alive. I honestly haven't played it. I'm sorry. I will play it eventually, but he's in that. He plays Strabo, and everyone loves his performance. They say he's like the best voice actor in the game, so that's great. That's awesome. Let's see. Oh, this is the mic. Okay. Mic just out of shot. Make it look a little nicer. The tissue box. Like, yeah, that's fine. Okay. I have my pajamas on the bed. I think Sonic got a little lost. He got a little lost to time. Oh yeah, I've got the P3 headphones. Who do you think I am? Let's clean up a little bit. let's. I'm gonna take the pajamas and just put them under the bed, and then we're gonna have Sonic. You know, he's gonna be there. Oh, you can't see him now. Oh, you can see him a little bit. He's back there. Always know that Sonic is back there. Never forget that. Alright, so enough dinging and donging around. I think we might as well get to some Xenoblade. I was in the middle of a story mission, so I'm just going to be continuing that. And I might as well just save the recording to where I've been saving my Xenoblade X recordings. It's kind of the gist right now. Okay, so we got to go to. I just have to set all this up. Legato. It's game background. Legato panel. Legato background. Oh, and of course it's like that, so we'll have to fix it a little bit. The face cam, which I'll have to activate it. This face cam does actually take like a surprising amount of system resources, so I'll just have to be a little granular with how I use it. Can't just say fuck it, we ball most of the time. Oh yeah, this does remind me. I neglected to think about how this would actually work or look. Let's see. I might want to actually get another HDMI so I can just so my view can be a little better. So what we're gonna do is we're just going to change the scene, and then I'm probably gonna go off camera for a second, set up the HDMI so I can see the game better, and then we'll be back and we'll do this view. We'll get into some Xenoblade X, get into some Mira. Alright, so what else do I have to talk about, man? I've been reading some Kino, or listening, I guess. I listened to Mistborn, the audiobook of that. I started it. I think I started it literally on like the 1st of January, and it's taken me all of these months to get to the end of it. It was it's fairly long. It's like it was 24 hours all told. Let's see, is this This is a Nintendo HDMI. Yeah, we'll use that for sure. Even though that's probably old as shit. Because that's from the Wii U. I really loved Mistborn. It was my first foray into Brandon Sanderson's work. I thought it was a super interesting world, very compelling characters, and his actual writing was phenomenal. Like, his prose and just how he directed scenes and how he would write, especially action scenes, I thought was really incredible. Because honestly, I've never read anything quite like it. It was just like very kinetic and impactful at all times. Alright, now I'm gonna snake my cable down there. And just gonna plug it in. Alright, we should be good. Okay, we're all good. Got everything on one screen. Fix my funny pillow placement. Let's see, gonna have the chat pulled up. If anyone shows up, lol. That doesn't matter. Alright, have an audio output, right? From the, that's microphone. Not audio output, audio input. We're gonna set it to the Elgato. We're gonna turn it on. Oh, now it's also, I have audio streaming from my monitor. Okay, hold on. I did forget about this. Let's see. I'm just gonna plug an audio cable into it, because I believe that's what worked last time. This probably doesn't sound very good. Alright, where's the actual input for this? You want to follow me for this? Let's go to the back of the PC and see what we're looking at. God. Alright, there's something back there. So I can take this. Alright, so that worked. Now the audio is normal. Oh. Alright. Now, just have to make sure it works through here. Advanced. Alright, it is working. Working perfectly good. Alright, let's go. I think we're in chapter 5. I think we can check. Yep, chapter 5. This game is fucking massive. Like, let's see, let me get a shot. Is my shot good enough? Let's see, where are we going? Oh, down here. This game heavily, I'm missing a word. It's like right at the tip of my tongue. This game heavily benefits for you to just explore and unlock a bunch of areas, so you have much more fast travel potential than you would otherwise just going through the story. A lot of people say this game is story light, and I've heard a lot of people kind of combat that take, claim that it's kind of misleading. I just absolutely missed that. I would say, you know, I'm not too far into it. Of course, I'm only on chapter 5, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily story light. I would just say that it's very exploration heavy.
Move in and keep the rhythm going.
And it features like a lot of unique mechanics and stuff that isn't in the base Xenoblade trilogy. And I think like, I don't know, playing this game has gotten me so back in this because that's what the Xenoblade trilogy basically did for me back in 2023. So like to play what is essentially like a new Xenoblade game, it's been like an incredible experience so far. Like I've just, it's just so cool. But this game was always there, you know, this game came out in 2015. But you know, now I have like probably the best chance to appreciate it. It seems like they actually did a lot of like quality improvements, quality of life improvements. All that stuff's really cool. Granted, you know, this is the only Xenoblade X I know, so a lot of Wii U stuff I'm gonna get against, which is probably fine. You know, honestly, if we had a Wii U. So, I actually do own this game on Wii U. I have the Australian version because it was cheap at the time. Well, it's cheaper than like the US version, and this was. Oh yeah, this was when the Wii U eShop was going down. I remember that. That's why I bought it when I did, because I was like, oh, it's probably going to get more expensive because the eShop is so you won't be able to buy it digitally. I don't know how true that is. If they're playing something on the Wii U, they're probably going to hack their Wii U and find a means of getting whatever game. That's typically what happens these days. Which for Wii U, it's kind of, I don't know. I've hacked my Wii U. I've delved into some of that. I don't see myself using it. You know, I put some emulators on there. It's just not something. It's not something that I'm super interested in. You know, everything's on Switch. Switch is a much better console than the Wii U. It's like, I don't really want to go back. There are some things like, I guess just playing Wii games. That's mostly what I'd use my Wii U for. Mostly because of the, you know, the HDMI. I suppose you could transfer, you could somehow upscale your Nintendo Wii itself through HDMI. You could do it that way. You can't play games. You can get close, and apparently you can do stuff through emulation and stuff, but like, why would I do that on my Wii U? Like, I could just do that on my PC way easier. A lot of novel things, especially in terms of the modding, like console
Move in
modding
and keep the rhythm
community
going.
that's
Hope
like,
you're ready for this.
okay, you can do all this. Wow.
Slide.
I think the best example is probably on the 3DS, because 3DS just has such a convenient form factor that it's like, okay, if you want to, let's say, port something to the 3DS and you can, then you should do it, because it'd be a really cool way to play it. Granted, most of that stuff's on the Switch, and the Switch is like, the Switch is still portable. It's always gonna be portable. It's like, I guess the DS was just a little different because you got to just flick it open at a moment's notice. But our portable tech is becoming much less portable. Phones are getting a lot bigger and stuff. I guess there's pros and cons to that, I would say. Yeah. I would love smaller phones, but I guess I'm just kind of happy with what I got. I have the Galaxy S21. I got it in 2021. I've kind of just been rocking with that since. It's like fine enough. Let's see, this is probably loud. I'm looking at this audio, I'm like, this is probably a bit loud. Okay. So that means for me, I'm just gonna turn this up a little bit.
Just one more left.
I mean, there are some wacky 3DS games already, like Xenoblade 3D. I never had a new 3DS because it just seemed kind of like a superfluous upgrade to me at the time. But Xenoblade on the 3DS, I feel like there would be like no point in that, since we have the Switch version. That like that's pretty clearly the definitive edition. It's even called that. But it is just like, it's an oddity. It is weird that in 2015 2 Xenoblade games came out. We had this on the Wii U, and then the original Xenoblade on the 3DS. Weird year for Nintendo. I mean, definitely kind of a freaked up era for Nintendo. I loved the 3DS, and like I think I want to do a video about the DS line, maybe a protagonist. I don't know if it would be like, if I would put like a lot into it. But we'll see. And like, I think pretty much every idea I have for protagonist can be reworked into a protagonist video eventually, depending on what it is and depending on like the scope of it. Now this thing is level 28, so we might be fucked. You can get by in this game if you have your wits with you. You can also sprint and jump in combat now, which is pretty crazy. There's a lot of things about this game that were only in this game and didn't carry over to Xenoblade 2 and 3 that I honestly I hope they bring back now that people are going to be much more familiar with this game. Like, a lot of the movement options are just like super fun, like free-flowing, and just lend to such great exploration, which this game does need. And they probably won't do everything. Like, of course, all the other Xenoblade games have fall damage. This game does not. That is, of course, in the service of helping the exploration, but I don't think future games will give us that luxury of no fall damage. It's just, man, It's so good. You gotta appreciate it while you have it. So I'm hoping for some of that kind of stuff to return in Xenoblade 4, and I'm thinking about Xenoblade 4 a lot too. Who knows when that will be announced? Definitely not in the Nintendo Switch showcase next week. I think I'm not even gonna cope about that. I will, however, probably start coping about some kind of Xenogears or Xenosaga remake, remaster, just any kind of representation for the previous Xeno games on Nintendo platforms, which we'll see. You know, I feel like it's very possible. You know, Nintendo plays well with Namco and Square Enix, so I think they could work something out. Of course, Xenogears is like a pretty important IP. Not important, but it's an IP that Square Enix they like to hold to the chest, you know. And so I don't know if they're gonna want to let it go. I don't know if they're gonna want to let it fling off into the universe. Okay, Nagi is in chat now. He says, "Sup? Wait, what? Tomodachi Life is back? Hell yeah, Tomodachi Life is back. That was in the new direct. I feel not that I feel bad, because I mean a lot of people choose not to watch directs, but I feel like, you know, if you're not so on the pulse of this stuff like I am, most people didn't even know there was a Nintendo Direct today. Like, it's pretty obscure, especially because the Switch 2 Direct is like being built up and built up. They just were like, here's some Switch 1 stuff. Funnily enough, they announced stuff that was coming out next year. So like Tomodachi Life is not coming out until 2026, which is it sounds more crazy than it is, because it's really not crazy for Nintendo to support a console a year after their next console has been released. Of course, sometimes they just completely stop, like the 64. They pretty much completely stopped supporting the 64 after Mario Party 3, and they were full on GameCube development. But, you know, with the Wii, there was still some games. There's actually, you know, post Wii U Wii games is kind of a thing. Hannah's in the chat. He's gaming. I am gaming. I'm always gaming. 100% gaming. That's a rabbit hole, but I always think back to the DS, how, you know, there was a couple of DS games after the 3DS. Pokemon Black and White being big ones. I think that was Black 2 and White 2. I didn't play those. Never been a huge Pokemon guy. I really liked Pokemon X though, which makes me kind of, you know, side-eye the new Pokemon Legends game a little bit, but I probably won't play it. It's, you know, you gotta be more selective with the games you play these days. So new Eye the Somnium Files is really where my mind is at, with the Direct and everything. And I wanna come out swinging with some crazy expectations for the Switch 2 Direct. I'm talking Xenogears remastered. I'm talking Fire Emblem, Genealogy of the Holy War remake. I fucking died, bro. Oh no, bro was not paying attention. Kid Icarus Uprising remake. That's what we want. Wait, there's a new Eye of the Somnia Files DLC or new game. It's like a new game. It might be like a more compact experience, but it's called No Sleep for Kaname Date, and it looks Date is the main character again, and it looks to be focusing on Iris a lot because I think a lot of fans were missing out on Date and Iris from I2, or I-Ni as a lot of people call it, because they weren't in that game as much. So my prediction is it's going to be like a shorter, smaller scale game, but essentially it is the third The Somnium Files game, and I'm heavily looking forward to that.
Looks like we've got no choice.
Funnily enough, I don't know, Casey, have you seen what Kodaka has been saying? So, right now, or next month, Kodaka and Uchikoshi's collaboration game, 100 Line Last Stand Academy, is coming out. And Kodaka was like, if this game doesn't sell well, I will end my career. He's like, I will never work on another game. May have to try and see if you can play the second one into my gameplay priority for this year. Yeah, it's real good. It's more the first. I'm kind of getting messed up because I'm not paying too much attention. But it's good. It's not as good as the first. The first was kind of, you know, it's just, the first is just so like creative and new. But even in saying that, like, I can say that I-Ni is not as good as the first game all day, but it won't change the fact that it's probably Uchikoshi's best sequel. Because I am a VLR hater, as most people know. And if you've seen the other streams, of course you know. I do not like Virtue's Last Reward, and I love 999. Still love him though. Kodaka kind of fell off. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. I feel like he just hasn't had games where his strengths can shine, and I feel like 100 Line is that game where we can really see his strength shine again, because it really is like a Danganronpa game if it was a strategy RPG. Like has the same vibe as Danganronpa. It's like so similar. Implying ZTD isn't the best Uchikoshi game. Okay, I have not played ZTD. I realized this while looking at my backlog the other day. Danganronpa is old AF now. Yeah, 15 years. That is a 15-year-old series. Which is crazy. I played the first Danganronpa game almost 11 years ago. 10 years and 3 months, I believe, was when I first played the original Danganronpa on the Vita. So, yeah, Danganronpa, it has legs though. Like, people, I don't know if it has the same kind of appeal as something like Ace Attorney, but I feel like the fan base of it is still kind of kicking, even though there is that weird phenomenon that we've witnessed where people learn about it, or they hear about it from TikTok, and then they start hating on it because apparently the people that are in the Danganronpa community on TikTok are really annoying. It's like some weird kind of evolution of the cultural osmosis of that series. They don't hit as hard on replay, but they're still really fun to revisit. Yeah, I haven't really replayed any of them aside from that time I needed to replay the first half of V3 because my save file got lost. But I would totally be down to replay Danganronpa 2 at least. And now they're on everything. They're on Switch, they're on PS5, they're on PC. You know, they've been on PC for almost 9 years now, but I remember kind of, I have a distinct memory of when they were only on the Vita in English, and then like they were on the PSP in Japanese. And it was kind of like, it was like, oh, this game, people wanted to recommend the game, but it was on the Vita, so it's like, oh, no one has a Vita. But then I feel like when they put them on PC, it was like the rest was history. It's like everyone played them after that. True.
This could make all
So I am honestly compelled to get 100 line. I would need to get some money for that. I don't necessarily have 100 line bucks right now. I kind of I spent my game money on the 2 games that I was gonna get, which is of course Xenoblade and Claire Obscure Expedition 33 next month. But you know, I want to support my boys, and I don't think I'm gonna be playing their new gacha game because I don't play gacha games. Although, I mean, I don't know. I have not played Tribe 9. It seems like it's pretty good though. It is, from what I can tell, a fairly stripped back gacha game. Like, it doesn't have daily quests. It doesn't have, you know, certain, I guess, predatory mechanics. But it's still a gacha game at the heart of it, and I'm sure it still has like microtransactions and stuff. And you know, on the most part, that stuff doesn't really sit well with me. I dabble in some Nikkei here and there. I'm known to dabble in some Nikkei. But that's a different story. That's a different story. Although, with all that said, I will say that the gacha game that might actually get me to attempt to play a gacha game is the Persona 5 one. Which apparently that isn't coming out in English for a dog's age, but something about, like, something about Persona combat, I feel like I could just, like, come back to it, you know, here and there, and, like, do the new content and do the bosses and stuff. Not a big grinder, though, so maybe I'd kind of just, I'd fall off it from that aspect of it. But from what I've seen of the Persona 5 gacha game, it seems to be more mechanically complex than, say, like Honkai, which is, you know, it's cool that that is like a turn-based game that is like fairly popular, because I do believe that, you know, people will say that they don't like turn-based games until you put a turn-based game in front of them, and then they'll be like, this game's fucking awesome. They're like, I don't like turn-based games, but Mario & Luigi Superstar on the Game Boy Advance is fucking rad, and it's also the only turn-based game I've ever played. It's like, I think you might like turn-based games because you played one and you liked it. So with that, even though Honkai is, in my opinion, you know, it's rather stripped back. I'm sure you could get into it, but I haven't really. Oh god, fucking. Oh man, I unlocked a new area discovered. Yeah, Honkai Star Rail, played a little bit of it. It's cool that it's turn-based. Don't really have much interest in playing more of it. I might though. I might still do it. You never know with me. To quote Pro Jared on turn-based haters, what do you hate board games too? Yeah, imagine like, because people, they're very serious about their turn-based hate. They're like, it's like, hey dude, you want to play fucking Clue? And they're like, fuck no. I actually, funnily enough, I am not a big board game fan. I don't know, I really struggle with board games actually. Because with turn-based games, even though you gotta wait your turn, I still think you can, like, control the pace of them pretty well. Maybe I just haven't played with the right group. And I certainly have enjoyed board game experiences before. Played Risk one time, that was tons of fun. But overall, I'm not a big board game guy. I don't know if I had a point with the Persona discussion. I think it's just like, I don't know, if there was ever a gacha game for me, it could be that one, but also maybe not. I tried the FF7 gacha, that game was just kind of gross. Not gross in the fact it's like, oh, what are they doing to my favorite characters? Gross in the like, this is just like such a cash grab. It wasn't fun. It was like an auto battler. Like, why would you play that? I just don't understand what happened to Genshin. Genshin's still popular, surprisingly. It just like, I just couldn't care less about it. Genshin, honestly, well, I avoid Genshin like the plague, to be honest. Like, every now and then I'll be like, oh, cool, Twitter account, cool art. Like, they'll have like some Zelda art or some like, I don't know, Xenoblade, Final Fantasy, you know, all the stuff I like. And then I go to their media page and it's like 90% Genshin art, and I'm like, okay, I'm just not gonna follow this person because I don't want to see that. I don't know, just can't do it. Can't do these types of games. But that was the thing, like, why would you play a game? Like, why would you play a game where the whole point, or like the meta of the gameplay, is just to hit auto battle and like watch battles play out for you? I know that mobile is not an ideal platform. Maybe it is for some people, but I've just never been that person. Even back when I had like my iPod Touch and mobile gaming was much more enticing, it still felt cheap. Definitely. I remember I played Sonic CD on my iPod Touch, and you know, there's no universe where I pick the iPod version over like having a 3DS port, which, to my knowledge, did not exist for Sonic CD at least. Seriously thinking about picking up Ace Attorney Trilogy. Hell yeah. I famously have owned the Ace Attorney Trilogy on the Switch since like 2019. But I think it's really, really cool that all of the Ace Attorney games are available on modern platforms now. I think Capcom has like been really great with preserving their games. Mostly handheld. They haven't really, because I'm thinking about that. I'm like, they haven't really done like a modern re-release of like PS1 Resident Evils. But in terms of Ace Attorney and like Mega Man, they've been very on the pulse of like what they're re-releasing and like what people want to see. So, you know, Ace Attorney fans are just like winning after winning. They're, you know, they got the trilogy, and then they got I don't know which came first actually. I think the Great Ace Attorney came first, which of course that was huge because that was the first time they were coming out in English. And then there was the Apollo Justice trilogy, and then the Miles Edgeworth duology. So just a really cool thing to have everything. And there's been a lot of speculation about Ace Attorney 7 and potentially following up on Athena as a character. Like, I've heard from a lot of friends that are big into Ace Attorney about that. Is N64 Mega Man also on Steam? Unfortunately, no. But they have many, many Mega Man games. They have the entire original series, the X series, and Battle Network. It would be really, really cool if they did Legends and Legends 2. Yo, Athena, best character? Yeah. Since, of course, as is a part of my lore, I've never played an Ace Attorney game, but I know you particularly really like Athena, and I've heard that there's a lot more they could do with their character, so I think that's really cool. And one day I hope to appreciate it. You know, one day I'll get to that series. I think I've simplified my backlog enough to the point where it is one of the games I will be getting to. Honestly, with how much Xeno games I'm playing right now, like this and Xenogears, you know, in the midst, I might just like go full Xeno marathon and play Xenosaga as well. But who knows? I did. I set out to play a couple Final Fantasy games this year. We'll see what happens with that. Granted, I also did that a few years ago before I played the Xenoblade trilogy. So, you know, plans change here and there, for sure. And of course, there's going to be so many new games coming out. And you know, sometimes maybe a new game in a particular series is like what it will take to get me off my ass, per se. Let's see. Ace Attorney has more complicated lore than Hunter x Hunter right now. That's crazy. How long was it to the... Wait, 1 second. How long was it at the point that you first went through Xenoblade 1? I went through Xenoblade 1 about 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago to the day, I was probably playing Tales of Xillia 2. And then I started Trails of Cold Steel. And I was enjoying that game, but I needed something a little different. Like, it wasn't what I was looking for at the time. So then I started Xenoblade 1, basically on a whim, and I got completely engrossed in the series after that. Oh my. So yeah. And the Xenoblade games are also, like, those are games that I would replay. I'm going to be replaying Xenoblade 3. And we will be seeing that on the stream, because I don't have any plans on when. All I plan on is I will replay Xenoblade 3 before I make a video about Xenoblade 3, which will be in the far-flung future. As many can tell by my upload schedule, I'm sure a lot of people thought that we'd have a Xenoblade 2 video by now. It's cooking. It's cooking. I remember Nishquick asking me when's the Xenoblade 2 video, like a year and a half ago. And I was like, it's not coming for a while. It's still not out. There are so many areas in this game where it's like, oh, I can tell that I'm supposed to have the ability to fly around this world. But this game is just going to be blue balling me for, you know, hours upon hours to get, not only to get the Skell, but then to get the flight module, which apparently is in like chapter 9, which at the pace I'm going at, I feel like I would get to that fairly quickly, but I'm assuming the chapters get a bit longer. Bambi 2 moment. Yeah. Fucking protagonist releases Xenoblade 2 video 50 years after Xenoblade 1 video.
Maybe back to their ship?
Friends, look, over there. Boom booms.
It's coming, I swear.
Check it out.
I swear it. Listen, a lot of things got in the way. I had to graduate college, which took a lot of work, and then now I have to find a job, which is also a lot of work, but does give me more time to work on Xenoblade 2. You must learn architectural field skill to recover this treasure. Well, shit. Oh, god damn it. You see, this is the thing about exploring in this game, is if I had explored and gotten this particular waypoint, I could so easily get to my quest objective, but my ass has gotta wait. The original Bambi was released in 1942, and its sequel Bambi 2 came out in 2006, meaning there was a 64-year gap in between. Oh my god. Man, like, I want to see the Bambi fan reaction to Bambi 2's announcement. And it's just a graveyard. This is gonna happen with games at a certain point. At a certain point, our grandchildren, collective grandchildren, because I don't imagine, well, whatever. At a certain point, our grandchildren will be like, it's the first Star Fox game in 50 years! I feel like we could do some analysis on this, but I feel like series tend to return after 20 years at most. I'm thinking, I'm like, Devil May Cry was like 11 years in between games. Tomodachi Life is also 11 years in between games, but that's not like a big series. Casey's reply to the Star Fox bit was a no! Yeah, I mean, I think Star Fox is like a very mishandled series even from its beginning. Tomodachi Life is huge. What are you talking about? Well, I mean, it's not a long series is what I mean. It was like one game on the DS and then one game on the 3DS. Tomodachi Collection, I guess I don't know much about that game because it's a Japan only DS game, but I imagine it's similar. So that's like, you know, it's like in the series. But that's pretty neat. I think along that point, Tomodachi Life is one of those series that kind of should be on every console. Like, every console kind of needs its own Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, Mario Party, Mario Kart, and I think Tomodachi Life should be included in those.
Engaging. Lay down fire. Shadow. Killing machine.
I think I had way too much dairy in my lunch. I made like this recipe for flatbreads. And it was good. It was just like, it was like a lot of barbecue sauce and it had like a lot of cheese on it. I don't know, just a lot. It was hefty and I probably ate more of it than I should. I'm like feeling it grumble around down there. You know when you burp after eating something and then you like taste it again, you're like, ah. Even if your meal wasn't bad, you just taste it again and it just like kind of, I don't know, it's not a good feeling. I'm kind of feeling that right now. I think, I don't know if I will actually get the new Tomodachi Life. I mean, it's quite a ways away. I mean, it's not like... I feel like there's a lot of games out there that if I have the disposable income to get them, I will get them. But I typically just kind of put my own money in other places. Okay, so that is a waypoint that I can get to. Because I don't buy too many new games a year, and you know, one thing that I think a lot of people haven't been talking about is the fact that Tears of the Kingdom was $70. So new Switch 2 games have the potential to be around $70, like the big ones. Given that Tears of the Kingdom already had it, there's no telling that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be below 70. Like, that could very easily be a $70 game. And you know, you'd hope they wouldn't release like a Mario Kart for $70. but you know, that might be in our future. So, you know, with multiplayer games that I'm not as into, like Mario Kart, Mario Party, I always thought that I'm like, oh, those games would be so good to have for company, you know, have people over and they want to play Mario Party, they want to play Mario Kart, and I just never really had those games since the Wii. Mario Kart for 70 big ones is a hate crime. For real, yeah. Unless they like really flesh it out. I mean, there's potential there, but Mario, it's Mario Kart, you know. It's just, it's not a 70 buck, not a 70 big one product. So yeah, I'm just kind of like I'm not exactly jumping on all of these games because I'm much more selective and stuff adds up. But it's all cool to see, and I mean I really would. I think it would be really cool to get more into kind of the party-focused multiplayer Nintendo games now that I have Switch Online and stuff like that. But I don't know. But with the Switch 2 life cycle, I'm gonna have to start making Smash Brothers predictions. And that's a lot of fun. I kind of, oddly enough, in 2023, I had a bit of a Smash Brothers resurgence of my own. This was, you know, after staring into the abyss that is Smash Brothers fans, and then essentially deciding to completely remove myself from that in any capacity. I think my personal wants for a new Smash Brothers game is to lean heavily on the party and co-op aspect of the series, because that's always what I've enjoyed the most. So I'm gonna be cooking up a lot of predictions relating to that. So that's exciting to think about. And it's been so far off that I haven't really given it much thought yet. I'm like, okay. +2, yeah. I mean, not to say that I know much about what goes on in the Smash community, mainly because I don't want to, and most of it's like heinous crimes, but there was a story recently that this guy, is this the one with fall damage? This has no fall damage. This has no fall damage whatsoever. So I'm gonna pivot from the topic. I don't want to talk about anything too morbid, but Smash players, some of them can just be just some of the most nasty, heinous people like I've ever seen or read about online. It's just crazy stuff. So I don't think Nintendo should lean into that crowd. I think Smash Brothers belongs with the party folk. You know, Smash Brothers, the very first Smash Brothers was the ultimate sleepover game. It was like you get your buddies together, you smash on the 64, you play it all night. It's like that's what the game was supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a competitive, you know, whatever. NL had a good bit about comp Smash Bros. Stands. I can't believe the voice modulation on these guys. I really like that this is like the most sci-fi Xenoblade game, heavily leaning into like alien races and crazy technology. I think that's something that the other Xenoblades have sidled up to, but this game really goes full force on it. Shit, I haven't been recording this. It's okay. It's okay.
It seems the sleeping dogs
I'm gonna record it now. Mostly for my Xenoblade X footage. But you know, okay.
Punch first. Ask questions later.
As for what will and what will not become a video on the second channel, only time will actually tell. I'm not out here trying to make streams for the sole purpose of turning them into YouTube videos. That'll just be something that comes along as we go. Which I haven't done yet, but I am using the last stream as a video, so I'm kind of using that as an excuse to not record a second channel video when I should be. Although I've got some ideas. Cooking for a second channel. But you know, the second channel is what it is, so I definitely got to focus on the main channel if I want to grow as a creator. Growing the second channel is it's the ultimate side project. It's the side project among side projects. But it actually is growing, so it's exciting. Real life side quest? Absolutely. Real life is full of side quests. Side quests, subclasses. You follow certain characters' quest lines and you discover some crazy shit.
Woo-hoo! Dance of victory!
Hell yeah. Oh fuck. Tatsu, wait! Tatsu's gonna get grabbed!
Damn it.
Oh shit! Oh my god! Is he okay? Did he fucking die? Oh my goodness! Huh? What? 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 What?
Are you alright?
Was our character secretly an android?
What? A friend is a robot?
I'm gonna block all feedback to the nervous circuits. Still hurt?
That does explain the eyes. The eye options you get in the character creator are very android-like.
You don't remember anything about your body being a mimeosome, do you?
Drops a in-lore term for it, okay? Why are they Americans
She's
now?
using her biocirculatory plasma.
That is
I can't fix this
literally
here.
lore.
Elmer,
So,
I need you to contact the mimeosome maintenance
we'll get
center
into
for
that.
me. Ask them to have a type 085 left arm and transfusion ready ASAP.
You got it.
I'm going to have to take you offline for a bit here, okay?
Damn.
We'll resuscitate you back in New LA. Don't worry, you're gonna be fine. I promise, okay?
I was not expecting this at all. Damn. So the lore behind them being American is they are actually from New Los Angeles, and that's like the space colony where the game, that's like your central hub around the planet Mira where you explore. Robot suits are cool. Yeah, dude. You know, since the series inception, since New Los Angeles, yes, this game takes place in New Los Angeles. Since the series inception with Xenogears, it's been heavily like mecha anime inspired. One thing a comparison I can definitely draw is Xenogears is actually quite similar to Zeta Gundam, the second Gundam TV series. And they've taken like inspiration here and there. And this game is like, this is like the mech game. This is the one where you actually get to pilot your own mech in full 3D space. Of course, you get to pilot mechs in Xenogears and Xenosaga, but that's more. Well, actually, in Xenogears there is the arena battles with the mechs. So I guess yeah, for the whole series has, you know, it's been very mecha anime, and you've been piloting mechs, and then Xenoblade sidles up to that sometimes. I think the only real like mech technically you control in the trilogy is the interlink forms with all the couples, let's say, in Xenoblade 3. Dude, this is just like that plot twist in Lego Ninjago. See, there's the eyes. See, I thought the eyes looked suspicious. I picked those eyes specifically because I was like, oh, this is cool. But it was actually lore related. No one does it like Monolith Soft. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
So, how's that new left arm feeling? Man, what a relief.
You're lucky Lynn was with us. If she hadn't acted as fast as she did, you might have bled out entirely. We could have lost your whole unit.
damn.
Oh, it was nothing.
Before we go any further, I wanted to apologize.
I feel like in a future when you can make an autonomous android, you would hopefully make them so that they can't die the same way that a human can. Because, like, take the Alien series, for instance. Like, the androids in that, all their computer technology is in their brain. So, we see in the first two movies that, like, the rest of their body gets completely destroyed and they're fine. So it's like, if an android has the ability to bleed out, I think you may have made some missteps in your development process.
Realized you might have forgotten about this, but as you probably noticed, the body you're inhabiting is artificial. We call them mimiosomes.
Damn, bro.
MIMS for short.
Mimiosomes are
Me
designed
when
to
I'm
mimic
mim.
human physiology as much as possible. The whole point is for us to forget about them. That way
Counter
we can still
argument,
enjoy the
it's
things we
cool.
love. Cooking.
We're all like this. Every single crew member that escaped on the White Whale.
Riddle me this. Could Terminators bleed out? Because they can bleed in Terminator 2. But can they bleed out? I don't know. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
All of us are MIMS.
But
Wha-
why
all-
would
wh-
friends all become
What?
robots?
They're
Well,
all
just think
robots?
about it. It could have taken decades to find a new planet to call home, or even centuries. We had no idea. Who would want to crew the ship if they knew they were going to grow old or die along the way?
Tatsusi Linley Point.
Our actual bodies are waiting in the lifehold, in stasis with all the human passengers.
Damn.
We control our mimeosomes remotely from there. So you see, that's why it's so important for us to find and protect the lifehold.
But, okay. They're probably going to explain this. My first thought, he bleeds in T2. Wait, okay. Wait. I'm going to talk about the game first. My first thought, if they die in the lifehold, which we've established at this point is, okay, it's where all the people are being held in stasis. And the people here are, they still have human bodies in the stasis, in the lifehold. We've lost that at this point. For anyone who doesn't know, it's like the lifehold got disconnected from the ship, and we're trying to find that. That's basically the main quest in this game. But if we're all androids, and we have our consciousness from, let's say, our original bodies, if our original bodies somehow die, does that mean the androids die as well? Or do they continue because do they live on with their current consciousness? And then how does the consciousness transfer when they get back to the original bodies? I'm sure that they've thought about this. I'm sure this is stuff in the game. This is just my first thoughts going into this. And this is making me very glad that I didn't look up any spoilers, and I'm basically completely blind on this game because I was not expecting this game. Literally, there are people that are like, "Oh, Xenoblade X has like no story." Like, what are you talking about? What the fuck is going on in this game? That's what I'm saying. T2, he bleeds in T2. I'm pretty sure Arnold at least bleeds in T2. There's like a moment where him and John Connor, they're like discussing the concept of pain. And he's like, "You don't feel pain." And he's like, "Why would you cry?" And then John Connor's like, "When it hurts." And he's like, "I don't feel pain." And then I feel like he cuts his arm open, right? In that scene, or at some point in T2. It's been a while since I've actually watched T2. So, we might have to come back to this.
Lives are on the line here too. If the lifehold were to stop functioning for any reason while we're still there in stasis,
Everyone, including every MIM in New LA, would drop dead on the spot.
Okay, they literally just explained it. So that's so unfortunate. And keep your breath mints handy. That's so unfortunate that they would do that to themselves. They're like, well, we do have android bodies, but if our original bodies die, the show's over, man.
that reminds me, something else you should know. It's possible for us to switch to another mimeosome if these bodies fail or become too badly damaged. But the process requires equipment from the Lifehold Core, the central unit of the whole operation.
Meh! So what if Gangly and her big beasties smash Friend's robot MIMs?
We wouldn't be able to come back yet.
For now, we need to consider these MIMs as precious as we would our real, actual bodies. Don't get reckless out there just because you're in a mimeosome. That's an order, you hear? One last thing, and I need to trust you all to keep this quiet. It's sensitive info, so HQ has only been telling team leaders about it. We can't have a panic on our hands. The readout on Blade Tower. You've seen it? It's not some kind of special clock or anything like that. It's a countdown.
Countdown to what?
Big number counts down to what?
The Lifehold shutting down.
Oh, fuck.
The
Holy
Lifehold lost
shit.
its power source when we lost the White Whale. It's been running on backup ever since. We need to locate the Lifehold and get a power source in place by the time that percentage reaches 0.
And if we don't,
These bodies will no longer sustain us.
we'll die.
Not
Wait a
just
minute.
die.
But they still eat. They eat. How does that work? If we're all robots and our real bodies are being held in stasis, why do we need to eat? Do we still have like flavor sensors? Taste buds? How does that even work? Do we have food rations? If the Mimiosomes are eating the food rations, then what are the other people gonna eat? I guess they're gonna start cultivating food from the planet, but maybe they've thought about it. I'm so lost right now. I mean, welcome to Xenoblade lore. Like I told you, it's just as complicated as Bionicle lore. Let's see, we got Fire Fury 190, probably to keep everyone sane, so they know they're still human deep down. That is very deep, honestly. Yeah, I guess, you know, that's, yeah. That's a good point, honestly.
Die out. It would mean the end of the human race as we know it. The end of everything.
Well, on that cheerful note...
Okay, Rook. You good to go?
Also,
Then let's
just made
report
it to
back
the new
HQ.
post-game story content
I'm
today.
sure the commander will want to
It's
hear
awesome.
about this himself.
Right.
Uncharted territory? Yeah, this is all Uncharted territory for me. Because I didn't play the Wii U version. New stuff is pretty cool. From what I've seen. I think I only watched 2 trailers for this game. There's always a point with new game releases where I stop watching trailers. Because the moment I'm sold on a game, I don't need to see anything else. And frankly, I don't want to see anything else because I want to just experience everything for the first time in the game itself.
Welcome back. Your floppy friends here filled me in on everything.
Damn,
you did
bro.
good. Just watch yourself out there, Big Shot. You're still new at this, and we can't afford to lose you. We only got so many spare parts to go around.
Feeling better, are we? You took a nasty hit, no?
She'll be fine. I patched her up myself.
That's great, isn't it? We were worried sick, you know? We're still new in town, so we don't have many other friends here yet.
These guys. So, okay. Back in the day, in the 2000s, I had this Ben 10 toy, and it had a voice modulator. It had a little microphone. And there was like different voice modulations you could do with it. And one of them, I swear, sounded exactly like these guys.
Wait, then Manon will live here too?
Correct. The NLA government has reached an accord with the Manon people. A friendship treaty.
Okay.
It guarantees their safety and provides them a place to settle here.
That's good. That's good.
That's great to hear, Director John. I wasn't sure how you'd react.
We don't need to be from the same species to be able to recognize our common ground.
The most
Someone
unrealistic
told me that
part about
once.
this game is that the
That was a lifetime
the
ago. That's quite a
space
memory you have.
colonists aren't
A blessing and a curse.
like
believe
traditional colonists in the real
So
world.
you're all stuck here too, right? We were just cruising along out in space, you know? And suddenly, our nav system goes all screwy, and we find ourselves here. Which is pretty weird, considering our tech is far more advanced than anything Samar's got. You saw how bad they wanted it, yeah?
Samar. I thought it was the ganglion that attacked you.
You don't know about Samar? Seriously? As in the Interstellar Federation, Samar? I mean, they only rule over a radius of million light years or so of space.
6
Damn.
million? But that would span multiple galaxies.
Well, yeah. The Ganglion are a run-of-the-mill crime syndicate. Just one tiny part of Samara, you know?
Just one tiny part. My good man, in the spirit of our agreement, we'd appreciate any intelligence you'd be willing to share.
Of course, of course. We'll tell you all we know, okay? After all, we are friends now, right? We are, right? Friends? Earth human heroes will protect us, right? Because we live here now. Right? Oh, look, look! Here comes our little ship now.
I love the soundtrack in this game. Yeah, it's this soundtrack is composed by Hiroyuki Sawano. So it literally is AOT. It's so many, like, there's so many parts of this game where I'm like, it just feels like Attack on Titan. I think at some point, we were on call, Mac was like, I feel like I should be flying around with 3D maneuver gear with this soundtrack. Oh, they didn't let the song finish. They didn't let the song finish. Honestly, I'm like... thinking about Sawano's soundtracks. I have 3 favorites, but I don't know which one is the favorite. So it's of course Xenoblade X and Attack on Titan. And then the third one would be Gundam Unicorn. I don't know if I could rank them. They're all so great. Bro just pops off, like, no matter what he's working on, honestly. But I think there are interviews where he's talked about how this game was one of his favorite soundtracks. And he was like, it was one of the soundtracks he was the most proud of. Also, we hit 20 hours. I'm gaming, can you tell?
Listen.
Alright, what are we gonna do now? So we finished a story mission, so a lot of side quests opened up. Let's see, we're still not powerful enough for that. I don't even know what's out there. We straight up saw a waypoint. Nope, I don't want that. We saw a waypoint. Yeah, we saw this. So let's go get this. Put this probe in, because it's right there. So I'm starting to think that the reason this game is so long is just because of all the content in between story missions. The story is going pretty quickly, like pacing-wise. I guess Xenoblade games are just like masters of pacing because I don't feel like I've been playing the game for that long in a good way. Like, I feel like I've just scratched the surface of it, and I have, so that means it's paced in a way where I can play 20 hours of it and have it still feel super new. And still, like, I'm like, what's gonna happen next? Some games really struggle with this. Like, one of my buddies was playing The Last of Us Part 2 yesterday, and that game, like everyone can agree that that game is just too long. But it's only 20 hours. It's like 25 hours at most. And you're like, from like JRPG standards, that's like nothing. Like I'm like 40 hours into Xenogears. But with that kind of game, with the way it's paced, and like for what kind of game it is, it feels so long and dragged out. You're already 20 hours in. Yeah, I've been gaming. And I guess, you know, it's like that was chapter 5. It's like we're not that far into it. I think there's 10 chapters. So, I mean, these chapters have felt very short. I'm sure they get longer later, so I'm sure we're not even halfway through the story content. But it does feel pretty crazy to kind of observe this game's pacing. It does remind me a lot of Tales of Xillia 2, in a way, because in that game you had story missions broken up by sections where you were basically doing a bunch of... Huh? What's happening? Huh. Is this like a me issue? 1 second. What the hell? Why is this not working? All I have to do is hold down the button. Is it, we're all like taking damage. I think that's because of the weather. Let me come back at a different time of day. Let's see, where can we change the time? Over here. I think I was still talking about the pacing. Yeah. So, 20 hours in, not actually that far into the story, but I still feel like I've played a substantial amount of the game at the same time as feeling like I've basically only just scratched the surface. I think it's pretty incredible what they have managed to do with this game's pacing. I can't fast travel there. Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. I'm catching the cold now. And now that it's nighttime, we're not all being destroyed by the blazing sun. So now I should be able to get this just fine. I've also been just quite sucked into this game in general. Like, a few nights I played it before bed. I usually, like, I chill out, turn off the screens, I read a book or something. Every now and then I'm just like, I gotta jump into more Xenoblade. I need more. Alright, there we go. Oh, let's try to get this one as well. Gotta skirt past these enemies. The Xenoblade staple. Very over-leveled enemies just walking around. Gotta use our expert mountain climbing techniques. Now, how the freaking heck am I gonna get... Is this even... I'll just keep going. Keep going, see what happens. I don't think I can scale this. I wonder, maybe I can scale that part. I like how Tatsu is always with you on the world map, but he just like, he dips whenever you're in combat, like he doesn't even show up. Get up there. See, one of the many moments in this game where I'm like, oh, I want to fly, I just want the Skell flight module. That's just a texture, okay. I don't know. I'm gonna track down some quests. Let's see. Is this anything I can do right now? Or is this something I have to wait a bit for? Because there are some quests in this game that you'll be able to accept, but then when you go on them, you'll realize that, see, that's a level 30 enemy. I'm level 22. So I can't really do this, can't really finish this quest yet. So we're just gonna see what else there is to offer. That NLA night theme.
Hey, listen.
Dang it all.
Damn, he's got a mask. Is Vinesauce a Xenoblade guy? I don't think he is. From what I can tell, he started streaming a playthrough of Xenoblade 1 Definitive, probably when it came out, so back in like 2020. And then he kind of dropped it. But he did play like a Xenoblade 1 Corruptions hack for Wii, like on the Wii version at some point. That was pretty funny. Other than that, I don't really know if he's talked about other Xeno games. Maybe Xenogears. I don't know. Because he's into like the Final Fantasies and stuff like that, so he's pretty on the pulse of like old Square games. So maybe he's talked about Xenogears in the past, I'm not sure. I do kind of, I don't pay that much attention to these side quests, but a lot of the time you'll have certain, like, dialogue trees to actually start them. I think the dialogue options in this game are actually really interesting. It looks like we already had the materials he wanted. My favorite kind of quest. Just already have the materials ready. There we are. Another good thing about exploring on your own. There's a lot of quests that you'll just have already done. They started living here like 2 minutes ago. They're already working on the military vehicles and shit. This game is fairly well known for its side quests. There's some very infamous dialogue trees in this game, actually. I don't know much about them yet, as I am, of course, not that far. But, there's one that's like, let her shower, don't let her shower, and apparently that leads to some kind of big thing. I really don't know what it is. And as you can see, there's also an affinity system, which seems to be, since there's all these dialogue options, the affinity system is a lot easier to understand than in Xenoblade 1. The Xenoblade 1 affinity system was weird. I never fully, never fully grasped it. I think Casey's confused about the shower thing. I am also confused about the shower thing because I haven't gotten there. I have no idea what that means. I'm worried that I'm gonna pick the wrong thing. Maybe I'll have to get everyone together. I'll be like, guys, I'm at the shower scene. What do I do? Alright, now we gotta go somewhere. Alright, this guy's no biggie.
Let's see what you engaging. Laid out some fire. Fire. Rising blade. Sliding slinger. Shadow strike.
I remember when Xenoblade 1 was first coming out. It was like 2012 in the US, so I was 10. I just remember, I very distinctly remember seeing gameplay of it online and just being like, how the fuck can you control this? Because I just see people like strafing around a big enemy with like the UI, and I'm like, how does this game work? Like, I just didn't get it. It is kind of, it's quite complex, but I guess I kind of thought that like in combat you were locked to like some kind of 360-degree plane around the enemy, like you couldn't move back and forth. I think that's just how it looked to me at the time. Especially because some of the only RPG combat I was familiar with was the Tales series, where you were locked on a 2D plane. I did play Tales of Symphonia around then. I didn't get too into it. It took a while for me to actually start like understanding RPGs. But I was always like interested in them. And then I feel like I became the RPG guy I am now with Final Fantasy VII Remake, funnily enough. That just sounds super recent, but I think that was the game that really like gave me back the love for these games. So, okay, I think in the future, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the sound mixing so that when oh, the gears are turned. I think they're I haven't seen that before. Overdrive. Haven't overdrive yet. I think I may have forgotten what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the music is lower because I changed it for the cutscenes, but I might change it back and then just well, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I know it is very hard to listen to music or to hear the music in a game while someone is like talking over it, but the soundtrack is just like so good, so I'm like, I want people to hear it. I don't know. Maybe it's not the time or place. There we go.
Sorry. Could someone get up? Shooting star!
Hell is certainly an interesting character. That is also like an interesting thing about just how this game is structured is you'll just like, you'll get a new party member and then you can use them anytime and they just won't appear in like story missions unless they're relevant, and you can go on like their affinity missions where it's focused on them. It's just like, I know there's a lot of games that do that, but it's just very different for a JRPG and very different for Xenoblade. What is this? What the fuck? Okay. I did it right as we... Alright, so when the gears are spinning, you can activate overdrive. I don't really know what overdrive is yet, but that's pretty cool. I do want to talk about L, this character on my party who hasn't been in any of the cutscenes here. He is like, he's an alien that I think is like, I think his race is like either indigenous to the planet or they've been here a long time. Maybe they traveled here from somewhere else at some point. I don't know. But essentially, like him in particular, he found the Library of Congress and he like watched a bunch of movies and stuff. So he's like a Earth weeaboo, and he's just like he's like quoting things. He's like constantly making references. I don't know. It's a very funny idea for a character.
Hope you're ready for this. Upper hand. So mean. Now close the gap. Now it's my turn. Infuriate. Yes. Now melee attacks.
We'll put a sock on them.
Slide. Nice. Move in and do some damage. Not balance.
Rising blade. Killing machine. Close the gap. Lay into it.
Shadow strike.
Fire. Rising blade.
Upper hand. Sliding.
There's no need to push.
Behind you.
Lightning
So
My
thank
own
you.
one.
Rising blade. Try me.
We'll
Now
put a
close the
sock
gap.
on them.
Shadow strike.
Look at us. We're out of course.
Now
us.
First grenade.
Shooting star.
Screaming. We're up against a big target.
Rising blade.
Our head is spinning.
Tornado blade.
Trash
Upper
talk.
hand.
I feel amazing.
Iron prison.
For us.
I think it might be time for me to change classes soon enough. I've really been enjoying the Samurai Gunner class. And I think before it was Striker. I really liked that too.
Rising blade. Tornado blade. Yes. Now melee attack.
I don't quite understand how healing works. I feel like healing
Kisser. Now.
in the other games is pretty intuitive.
Defensive stance.
But you know, I fill up my little bar on the left there. But maybe it's like a TP thing. Maybe I need to fill up more TP to heal. I don't know. This game handles its tutorials in a very strange way. Like, it'll just give you a bunch of tutorials, but like, they seem out of order somehow. Like, I feel like I've learned so much from just playing, and then I'm like tutorialized on things way later, and I feel like I should be. And then some things, because of that, I feel like I've skipped over certain things.
Upper hand.
Oh, there's a different. There is a different
We need a little pick me up.
soundtrack for the Overdrive.
It's been
That is interesting.
Side slash.
Infuriate. Rising blade.
That's just the sign of polish, I suppose.
So what if you stab
Now
him?
it's my turn.
Wild down. I toppled him. Well hit.
Upper hand.
Thermal payload.
Shadow strike.
Rising blade.
Nice. Move in and do some damage.
I know. Take this.
Slinger. Touch me up.
Defensive stance.
Side slash.
Tornado blade.
Use an aura. Get control of the battle.
Run. So what if you stagger me? Rising blade.
Shadow strike. Upper hand.
It didn't break.
Time to get fired up.
Oh, we got it. Nice.
Grenade. Well, I figured we'd win. Hope I didn't get in the way.
Honey oil. Was that all of it? There's something over here. Honestly, it's like, I kind of feel like this is one of those games I could just play all day. I want to make big predictions for Xenoblade 4, but a part of me feels like I'm gonna need more knowledge for that. Like I'm gonna need more context from Xenosaga at least, but of course Xenogears. You know, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's probably gonna be different than what we think it's gonna be. Probably gonna be more new stuff than bringing back stuff we already know, stuff we can speculate on. But I'm very interested in the people in the speculation behind Cosmos and Malos coming back. Of course, Cosmos is a Xenosaga character, and Malos is from Xenoblade 2. They've heavily hinted at a lot of Malos stuff, so I am looking forward to that. What do we got? A client is L. Does that mean I can't have him in my party to accept this? Let's see. Alright. 38. Maybe not yet. Me scrolling blue sky. Samus psychokinesis. I've never been a Metroid guy, and by that I mean I've just never played them. But that Metroid Prime 4 trailer was really sick. I'm always just half reading these, I'm not gonna lie. So I think chapter 5 is where we've kind of just chipped the iceberg in terms of where this plot is going and how much it will reveal. Because people talk about how this game is also very lore focused and how insane the lore can get. And I'm very interested in this because I almost feel like I've seen it all, you know, like I'm like, okay, how much crazier can it get? And people they're reassuring me and others saying like, oh, even if you've played, let's say Xenoblade 3 or something like that, they're like, okay, you're not ready for this game. This game's gonna get a little crazy. And I'm like, okay. I guess I'm really not ready because I really don't know what to expect. Which is a good thing, I'd say. It's definitely a good thing. I'm like, okay. I'm kind of. It's not even that I'm skeptical. I'm just like, what do they mean? I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for some things to happen. Explore 30% of Oblivia. That's the whole side quest. This dude, this one. See, these are all quests that, well, this quest literally is level 28, which we're not at yet. But these other quests have very low level requirements, level recommendations. But the actual content of the quests pretty much makes you have to be a much higher level. Like, we can try this one again, just to show it off. I think you're supposed to be able to do it, but I just haven't figured out a way that has worked for me. So you're supposed to go over here. And so a lot of these quests, you just have to grab items and stuff. So we have to grab this item that's up here. But as you can see, well, as you can see there's a level 36 enemy over there. And might I remind you, level 22 right now. And this is also a level 3 recommended quest. So, I'm assuming you're supposed to just skirt around them. But they always aggro me. I don't know how to fix it. Like, okay. I didn't mean to fall, but I didn't get seen. So, okay. If I go behind them a bit, okay. Alright. Yeah, let's fucking go! I actually did it this time. They didn't aggro me at all. Now we can just run over there. Oh, those are freaking dinosaurs. That's not a dinosaur. Why? Do I have to go up?
Well,
Alright, there we go. Finally completed a level 3 quest. Oh, he's got new stuff.
well,
I swear, those monsters were always aggroing me every single time. Actually, this... This might have been a probe point that wasn't accessible. Or maybe it was just blocked off by enemies again. I feel like there are some probe points that are in some of the starting areas that are only accessible through skills. Alright, level 8. This is gonna be a piece of cake.
Attack at range. Follow my
Well,
lead.
this is an
Target
earth-shattering development.
Now, melee attack. Defensive stand. Tornado blade. Cycle blast. Down you go. Defensive slam.
I'm locked in.
Blast smash.
Wild smash.
Uppercut.
It took a second to get used to the combat in this game, because it's more similar to Xenoblade 1, just in how you control it. The other games had a much more intuitive, like easier way of doing all your arts. In this, it's more rigid, like it was in Xenoblade 1, but I've gotten back into it. I feel like I've definitely gotten back in the swing of it, and I do really enjoy it. So I'm glad that it doesn't feel too, I guess, antiquated at this point. The UI has changed a bit, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be that drastic. I have to say, this is one of those games where I always kind of like, I see the remaster and it looks like how I remember the original game looking, and then you go back to the original and you're like, okay, some of this definitely doesn't look as good as I remember. Not to say it's bad at all, but every now and then there is the odd thing that's like, okay, this looks way better than it did. Or you go back the other way around, you're like, oh, I can't believe it looked like that originally. I feel like when I look at Elma, I can't notice it as much. I'm like, I feel like this is what the game looked like. But then when I look at Lynn, I'm like, oh, this is definitely remastered. There is definitely big graphical improvements going on here. So, yeah, some quests just complete without you having to talk to anyone. So, done with that, I suppose. There's like, you know, there's so much to do, so just be doing it. Just be on it. I don't know how much longer I'll go for. I'm winding down just a bit, but, you know, I'm like, I just want to keep playing. I think that's like one of the strongest things about this game, is it's just fun. Like, above all else, it's just extremely fun and extremely polished. That's what just gets me coming back to it. Like, Xenogears is still a great game. It's just like, it's quite a slow and text-heavy game. You know, like when I'm playing it, I'm mostly reading it, and then I use my funny emulator to speed up the battles. And I like the battle system in that game. It's just like, just kind of drags at points, and it's only at certain points. You know, I do really enjoy a lot of the combat encounters in Xenogears. It's just the kind of game that, you know, when I started it, I was like, okay, the game, it's perfectly fine as it is, and now I'm leaning much towards, okay, I wish there was a remaster of this. Not for a particular, not for like, oh, I don't want to play the original, because I'm still, you know, I appreciate it for what it is, and I'm enjoying it. The thing about Xenogears having a remaster is it could just add so much, like with the addition of voice acting and some quality of life features. There has been some mods that give it some pretty significant upgrades, which I haven't dabbled in the mods. I don't really want to for my current playthrough because kind of just wanted to rip it as it always was, you could say. So I'm banking on the remake, or I'm thinking about it. You know, it's one thing. It's kind of a pipe dream remake. Like, a lot of people are like, it's never gonna happen. And I'm thinking about it more and more, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want it now. A lot of people have actually, well, not a lot of people like around, like in the discourse, just a lot of people I know have talked about the potential of a Ocarina of Time remake, which I just, part of me just doesn't even think that's possible, even though it did kind of happen on the 3DS. There's just this part of me that feels like you can't touch Ocarina. But if they do, I'm very interested to see what it would even look like, you know. What would they add to it? What would they change? You know. We haven't had a 3D Zelda remake ever, but we've had 2D Zelda remakes. We've had, like, a Link's Awakening. I almost said A Link Between Worlds, but that was just a 3DS game. Funnily enough, Link's Awakening is the only remake that we have, really. For a Zelda game, like a full-on remake, I would consider the 3DS ports of the 64 games to be more of a remaster. Yeah, they certainly had enhanced elements like graphics and frame rate. They were essentially the original games. I don't know about Majora's Mask though. I didn't play the 3DS version of that, and I heard a lot of bad things about it. I watched that Nerl video that I'm sure everyone has seen at this point. But of course I haven't played it myself, so I don't really have an opinion on it. Really enjoyed the 64 version, so I'm kind of, I guess I'm predisposed to being skeptical of the changes that they may have made. I wonder, would I be so skeptical on a Ocarina remake? I think maybe I would just, like, would take it as it is, you know, if there was something I wouldn't like. If there's something that I didn't like, I would point it out. Oh, God. I realized that my chat isn't pulled up. I don't know how possible an Ocarina remake is. Like, it just doesn't sound real. I'm kind of like, I'm really not expecting it to be like announced at any point. Like, if that shows up in a Nintendo Direct, I'll certainly be flabbergasted. Like, ain't no way. Ain't no way I would predict that. I'm gonna be making some crazy predictions though. I got a lot of notes to write down for Switch 2. I've been pretty happy with Nintendo Directs recently. Like in the past 2 years, I feel like they've been really good. So I'm just gonna go crazy with it. And then I'm gonna try to make it not affect my opinion of the actual experience too much, because if I'm like, oh man, we need Kid Icarus, like, I've been wanting more Kid Icarus since I finished Uprising back in 2012, so I just don't see it happening, because it hasn't happened yet. Like, if it was gonna happen, it probably would have happened already. Could be wrong still. And honestly, I still hope for a remake or a sequel or both. You know, with the Nintendo Switch 2's new features, like the mouse pointers, you know, that could really benefit the style of Uprising. So maybe there's something they could do there. That's my pipe dream, though. Maybe they'll show off things that are completely new. Maybe we'll get introduced to like a new IP. Because I feel like with speculation, it's always a new entry in a series or a remake. And those things are fun to speculate about, but they're not the only things out there. Granted, there are series that are, you know, always getting new entries, so I'm sure soon enough, I can't be certain, but soon enough, we'll probably see a new 3D Mario. We'll see maybe a sequel to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Kirby games typically come out near the end of a system's lifespan, but I wonder if that will change, because it feels like it's been an appropriate amount of years since Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Of course, I'm definitely going to be thinking about when the next Xenoblade game will be announced. I doubt it will be anytime soon. I'm kind of like, I feel like saying anytime this year is like a big cope, but that might be a cope I'm willing to partake in. Just depends on what's happening when. Like, this game just came out, so you know, I'm really not thinking that there's gonna be a new Xenoblade for the Switch 2 being announced next week. You know, that'd be a crazy marketing strategy, if that would even be considered a strategy in the first place. That's a big guy. I definitely don't want to be spotted by this thing. Alright, we're good. Very easy to get spotted by huge overleveled monsters, but also fairly easy to avoid them. Other than that kind of speculation discussion, I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm just gaming. I kind of doubt that I will have the time to finish this game before Expedition 33 comes out. Probably will be playing Expedition 33 on launch, but I might, you know, there might come a point where I have to make a decision of what to focus on, which might end up being this. You know, of course I have my, essentially for the games that I'm playing, my rotation, I have like 3 slots. Like, one for shorter games, which is like 30 hours is the cap for that. And then one for longer games, which is essentially anything longer than 30 hours, but I guess my cap on that is like, there's some really, really long games that I will play, and there's some that I'm like, okay, you might have to put the lid on this. Like, I definitely want to play Dragon Quest XI at some point. That's a very long game. But that's a game that I do want to dedicate time to eventually. But then maybe there are some other games that are just too long, and I will not focus on them. But I've carved out the series that I'm really dedicated to. So like every Xeno game I'm definitely going to play. Final Fantasy, I don't know if I'll play every single game in the whole series, but that's like, you know, it's one of my top series, so might get to it. Oh, there's the probe. Right there. Excuse me. I just went through my backlog again and just removed a bunch of stuff. Stuff that I'm not certain about, or stuff that I'm like, there's just no way I'm playing this. Like, even if it's like a Steam game, like a Steam game that I already own, it's like, okay, I bought this probably 5 years ago on a sale, and I didn't think about when I'd be getting to it, or how much time I would dedicate to it, or stuff like that. I'm like, just not gonna dedicate the time to those kinds of things. So at a certain point, it's like, you gotta let it go, even if I hastily bought it on a Steam sale. That's something you gotta look out for there during a sale of any kind, honestly. Like, in previous Steam sales, I pretty much only bought games that I know I'm 100% gonna play, and I've bought less every time. I think it's just gonna continue that trajectory. There's a lot of games that I've held off on buying because I'm just like, I know I want to play them eventually, but I'm just not there yet, so I'm not even gonna bother buying them. Like Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I loved Fallen Order, but there's just so many games that I want to play between now and then, and I might even play Fallen Order again before I play the sequel. So I'm in no rush, really. Let's see. Will I be able to see the probe point? Sometimes you are, sometimes you can't. I think there it is. Well, that was pretty easy. Like, sometimes you'll just be running in circles and you'll never find them, and sometimes they just show up. It's a pretty cool system, though. I'm thoroughly down with all the systems and mechanics that they have on offer. There are certain things I haven't even really delved into yet, and it is quite a long game, so, you know, I guess I'll get there in due time. But there's some things that I feel like I kind of understand, but just gotta play more of it, get more into it. Oh. At some point earlier, Casey said glup shitto. I think there's many glup shittos in this game. That's one of the fun parts about it. I think Skell quests. I think I am winding down now. I mean, it's like I could just continue doing side quests pretty much forever, but I think I might close out the stream here. Let's see. Yeah. I'm like going onto this quest, but I'm like, all right, I think it's time to pack it in. All right, as always, thank you so much for showing up, whether you're watching live or the VOD. Absolutely appreciate it, 100%. Stay tuned for new uploads, mostly on the second channel. That'll be much more frequent, but the main channel, cooking up stuff, you'll know when it's out. I'll make sure to, you know, advertise it every which way. Basically, yeah, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the second channel, check out Blue Sky and maybe Twitter. I think I've been shadow banned on Twitter, so not really using Twitter too much these days, but more active on Blue Sky, so check that out. And yeah, I guess more to come. I kind of want to do like a Ko-fi kind of thing, but I don't know if people really want to donate to that. So I don't know if I'm gonna shout that out. We'll see about that in the future. That's future business. But yeah, for now, it's pretty much all I've got. Great to see you, and we'll be doing this again very soon. Probably next week. I'll announce it on Blue Sky. That's where you hear it first. All right, so pretty much that's it. See ya.